Today's news, South Korean lawmaker discusses military exemptions for K-pop boy band BTS. What's up, guys? This video is brought to you by StephanieIschler.com, my new website! Enter your email for a chance to win a $100 gift certificate towards anything that you want on my new website. Submitting your email signs you up for my brand new newsletter. Link is down below.
An absolutely fascinating article was published recently on the Straits Times, which I believe is a publication out of Singapore, in which a lawmaker, a politician out of South Korea went on a radio show and discussed the contradictions in the military exemption rules that currently exist in South Korea. That article is linked down below.
The man's name was Ha Tae-kyung, and he is a member of the Righteous Future Party, which is a minor opposition party, and supposedly he actually first addressed it at the National Assembly and then went on later to talk about it on the radio show.
Yeah, they have these crazy rules where internationally acclaimed athletes can get military exemptions, like for instance, Olympic athletes that have won gold. It's rare, but they still have this rule in place where some of these people who were in the Olympics never had to do their military service. And he's claiming that BTS is also internationally famous at this point. So how come there aren't rules for their very top performing groups internationally in the way that there are rules for internationally performing athletes?
The most recent of which was the 2012 Olympic football team that won the bronze medal at the Olympics. Also, there have been exemptions like the 2008 badminton gold medalist.
Right, if you're in badminton and you could get exempt from the military service, and why can't also other people who are famously international, making a huge impact for the South Korean economy and actually just in general, also at least be able to apply for such an exemption? It hurts Korea if they all gotta go into the military. Here's a portion of what the politician said. A list of the designated international competitions is unfair, Ha said in the radio show interview. There are classic music competitions such as violin, but pop music is excluded. Pop music #1 is not included, making BTS, who topped the Billboard chart, irrelevant to military exemption. There are dance competitions on the list, but not for b-boying. Theater is included, but film isn't.
And that is ridiculous. But it ties back to the last time that this law was written, which was in 1973, was the last time that they did any revisions to the exemptions. So you didn't have b-boying really back then. I don't think you had b-boying at all. You didn't have pop music in Korea like you do now, and there are so many people who could have benefited from rules such as these.
One of the things that irks me the most in this world is when our representatives don't represent us properly. This is a classic case of a rule should be amended just a little bit. And we're not talking major changes here. We're talking just in addition to the actual already in place rule. So we're not trying to change the rule, we're just trying to add to it a little bit. And this would allow for a slightly more fair representation of the people who are representing South Korea on the internet, on TV, in these places where only certain people at the top are recognized globally. Like,
well, yes,
they should be considered.
It's groups like BTS that are at the top, that are making such a name for South Korea, that are causing this change to come about, as well as the fact that South Korea is at this time right now where they believe that they can make these changes because they did oust their president. They are starting to reform and do things. There have been petitions at the Blue House to have BTS be exempt since at least December of last year.
It puts an awful lot of pressure on the president, though, because there are a lot of people on the other side of this issue that think that it's completely unfair. If you take some of the members of Big Bang, for instance, they just entered. They are currently in their military service. It just seems completely unfair to a lot of the men. And I've heard countless perspectives from these guys when I was teaching university. These guys were going in, they were getting ready to go in, they were coming back, and they were in my class, and they looked chiseled, and they had changed completely their whole outlook on life. It does give some benefits to go in, but I don't think everyone is fit for it. And now with the peace talks happening with North Korea, which didn't have anything to do with anything other than the Koreans did this on their own. So it looks like the military is going to start taking a lesser role in needing to keep peace on the Korean Peninsula because it looks like everyone wants peace, which means they can downsize the military a little bit, and that's why they really need to look into something like this.
Well, they're starting to make some changes. They actually made one big change in June, which what they did was they passed a law because there was a lot of people over the years that have been conscientious objectors to the draft, to the mandatory military service. People who, because of religious reasons or some other political thing, they are anti-war and they don't want to be involved. And South Korea has been jailing people since the 1950s for this, but they just passed this conscientious objectors alternative, which is going to allow them to serve alternative service, whether they're working for homeless shelters or firefighters, as police officers in prisons. They're going to enable them to serve in other capabilities, in other ways. So because these laws like this are changing that haven't changed since the 1950s, maybe we can get an update on this 1973 law to encompass more people who are actually promoting South Korea internationally.
What side of this ruling are you on? Comments?
Do you think that there should be exemptions for big K-pop groups that are internationally renowned if there are other exemptions for people who do things like play piano or violin or dance professionally?
Do you think they should completely change the rule? Do you think they should just add to it a little bit like we were talking about before? Or does it get under your skin that not all the men now necessarily might have to serve? And are you on the side of complete fairness and not like objective thinking? Comments, you guys. Let us know what you're thinking. Click the like button. Thank you for supporting us here at Holla You Back. Click the bell for notifications. Don't forget to subscribe for more Holla You Back news. That's it. We're out of here. Hasta luego.